Welcome, welcome. I'm Dee, and this is a single mom unguided life where I try to navigate through finances, motherhood, being single, and everything in between. And I bring you guys along for the journey to hold me accountable. I know this is a little bit different format, but I needed to do my November review. And because I didn't do a great job of keeping track of it with pen and paper, luckily I did an awesome job with keeping track of it with EveryDollar. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into this and show you exactly how I reconcile the accounts as well out as well as close out of categories so I can create the next month's budget. I always start with the month before to ensure that I ended it with a green check that shows it's the every dollar budget, which means that every dollar that I planned or received has been allocated somewhere. Then I click at the top and you can see for the month that you're currently on the screen, for months that's already been budgeted, it has a solid outline. For months that is yet to be actually budgeted, has a dotted outline. So we're going to move to November. Right now, it says it's an every dollar budget. Because I'm using the free version, a lot of things that I do have to be done manually. I haven't found too many workarounds to assist me with this. I know that I was gifted Financial Peace University, which I believe allows for me to gain access to Every Dollar Plus. I think it's like a year membership, but I haven't did it this year because I was really focused on me managing my money in a way that I understood it. And then I think I decided to wait and try to actually enter a class setting. Pandemic hit, so I think I'm just going to just wait till 2021 to actually start using the EveryDollar Plus or Ramsey Plus, whatever it's called now. So, with that being said, the first section that we are brought to is our income. Again, because I'm using a manual, what I usually do is anything that I actually receive, I place in the plan section because this app doesn't know that when I budget 1600 and I receive 1670 that I actually have that $70 to allocate, and when I start to move the money down here to allocate it, it doesn't know it. So it's best for me to just put everything that actual numbers in the plan section, and this is usually left blank for me, and that's totally fine. As you can see, I received 4 paychecks in November. I'm a bi-weekly earner, so I usually receive 2 regular paychecks as well as I receive a stipend. So some months I'll get 3 checks, and 2 months out of the year I'll get four. This was a 4 month. This is a 4 check month. Anytime I have any carryover from the previous month in my checking balance, I put it here. I budgeted 285.75, but I actually let someone borrow $100, so I actually started with 185.75. All right. I didn't have to pull anything from savings. From my envelope system, I brought over $24.11. And I wrote a little note here so I know exactly which categories this money has to be allocated to and how much for each category. Anytime I lend someone money or I am due a refund, I place it in the section that says money owed. I received $46.67 that came from Papa's for his November bill, as well as, excuse me, phone bill, and as well as I received a Mary Kay refund. I ordered something from Mary Kay that was out of stock, and it took the rep like over a week to determine that that item was out of stock. This was a new rep. I've been dealing with Mary Kay for years. I honestly feel like they are not into it as much as my last rep, and therefore it was not enough attention to detail. So I was just out here supporting someone, but I'm going to have to go back to my other Mary Kay lady. And honestly, I don't believe this was enough to cover that purchase, but okay. We just gonna move on for that. We're gonna just move on. Anytime money is received to me that is not expected to be returned, I look at it as gifted. And this time around, I received $150 totals, and this came from three individuals, and it actually was for Papa to go towards a purchase I actually made on my credit card. Sorry about that noise. From my on my credit card for an item for Papa, and these individuals stated that they were going to send a portion to cover that cost, and so that's where we at sitting there. Anytime I receive money that I have not budgeted for goes into bonus. I received two checks, a dividend check of $117.97 and Rakuten sent me a check of $8.80. I wasn't expecting that because I thought I missed the cutoff, but I guess I didn't. Anytime I have to pull from my side income to fund any of my sinking funds, or excuse me, my budgeted items, I place it here in side gigs. So the first thing is I sent $62.26 to gas. And then I also went ahead and had I bought a go ahead and deposit the balance I had of 28.26. I put $20 towards groceries and $8.26 I just left it in the gas sinking fund. Anytime there's a bill that I was expected to pay a certain amount, but by the time it was to pay out, it was actually less. Or, well, I want to say when times pay out. But yeah, because sometimes it's like before and sometimes it's after. So sometimes I know the bill is less based on something that happened in the few days before. But when I do not know, and honestly, I did not know about this, it left the 11-cent balance. So before I can even use something or allocate that 11 cent, that big 11 cent to something else, I actually just left it where it was at. Okay. And I hope the sound is great. I'm using my headset. Hopefully that doesn't carry as much noise in the background as well as doesn't sound staticky or muffled. So total I brought in $5,985.58. So how did I spend that? As you can see, there's two columns on the right. It's plan, and then you can toggle between remaining and spent. I usually stay on the remaining tab and simply so I know exactly what I need to reconcile. I know that I paid out to giving $494.29. So what I do is I go ahead and place in that amount here. And because it's a November budget, I always go back to the last day of November, place it there, and click track expense. Now you see the remaining zero. So I have closed out that account and known that it's done. The next section is sinking funds. I start the emergency fund. I didn't plan anything, and you can see what's remaining 1,000 because I haven't touched this. This is my mini emergency fund that I keep easy access to when I have that mini emergency. Savings, I budgeted $150, but I actually was able to send $190.78. I did not track this in EveryDollar because this particular account itself, like I don't need to, I allocate to a different account. So this category I actually allocate to a different category. I'm all jumbled up. Let's rewind. So what I'm saying is I do not use EveryDollar to track my savings. I use pen and paper to track my savings, and you usually see that when I do my emergency fund in my debt update. So that's why I do not track it here, and I'm totally fine with that. So I go ahead and again put the last day for that. Nothing from my budget goes to extra debt payment because I do my side income. I didn't send anything to vacation. There's a $4.08 that's lingering there. For Papa's fund, I budgeted out of my income $500, and then $150 from that gift was placed into this particular account for the time being. And so that leaves a remaining of $863.12. Now I had already spent $100, and this was for a gift for Papa's like senior year that I needed to go ahead and purchase. So I went ahead and did that, as well as this account earned 3 cent interest. For property, I budgeted 45 and what's remaining is 75 because I have not spent out anything. For gas, I was able to send $230.52 to this category. And as you can see, partial of that came from the side gigs, and the remaining was what I actually budgeted. And for this category, I spent $206.90. Um, and so that leaves me a remaining of $53.83. For car maintenance, I planned 100, and what's remaining is $331.61. I did spend $76.32, and I earned interest of 13 cents for this category. The next is the check-in buffer, and $752.63 is what I plan. $616.30 is what I have remaining. What I've actually spent out of this category was $422.08. This was part of the stress spending that I did. I was able to place some money back where it needed to be, but I have to fill in other categories, and that's where all the spending has been done. Okay. And other sections of this, a lot of this money came like the bonuses that I received was part of this purchasing too. It went in here and part of that purchasing. As you can see, when you click on fund details, it shows the starting balance was 285.75. I could not update that because it's December and I'm working on November budget, and as you can see, there's no jumping ahead. So, with that being said, you have to make sure. That's why I was make sure every dollar is accounted for before I move on. You can do a savings goal, which I honestly do need to put a savings goal, but I think I'm just when I do the December budget, I'll update everything that I need to really update prior to switching over to the EveryDollar Plus. All right, so taxes. I do not pay taxes out of my normal, like I do pay taxes out of my normal income, but I'm not responsible for calculating that. My employer is. I'm responsible for trying to calculate what part of my side income should go to taxes. So this is a sinking fund and I want to keep account of, but because I'm not budgeting for the current month, I couldn't make any changes to this at this time, but I wanted to include a category so when I do budget for December, it will populate. Medical is something that I fund in the beginning of the year. This is separate than the medicine, and I'll show you shortly. But medical, this is comes out of my gross income. It's a HSA, FSA type of account, and when it's gone, it's gone. And mine was gone before November. So I did have a bill in November that I'll be paying in December, and then I finally got the bill from when I went into November that I haven't seen when it's due, but more than likely it's not going to be due into January in my book. So let's go to the next category or next section, which is housing. And this is where everything that falls in the housing category. So this is my rent. So as you can see, everything is still remaining. So I need to go ahead and close out these accounts. So let me go ahead and put the 715. And this is self-explanatory, so I am going to definitely just speed this section up. Okay, so the only thing worth discussing for the housing section is that the cable was actually less than what I budgeted for because I received a credit for removing that premium channel, and therefore I only paid $4.72. And then for the phone, I, out of my account, paid $142.94. And then the remaining amount of the 2667 came from Papa's side, which I accounted for in my income. So let's move to the next section, which is the envelope system. And as remember, I told you that certain categories had leftovers. So I accounted for that in the planned amount. And now I'm just going ahead and close out the remaining accounts here. With the envelope system, I do not keep a record of this information or track it, should I say, in EveryDollar. I track this pen and paper, and as you can see, when I do my weekly check-in, my spending trackers, and my transaction logs, that's where I do a lot of my tracking for myself. So again, moving this all along. Okay, so as you can see, I have closed out of these accounts. I do not, again, track them in here, so that's why I need to make sure I'm closing those out. And as you can see, the girl was out here buying her feelings. Lord. Whew, I digress. Next area is lifestyle, and this is my storage for my videos. So it's $7.46. Close that out. My streaming, which will be going up soon. I don't know how much, but it will. And the subscription, this is actually the subscription that the bill pay fee for the I'm sorry. It's like raining real bad and I'm not really sure why this person is outside, but um the bill pay fee for my payers plan. There we go. It was coming. So let's move on to this section. I budget oh, I budgeted the $30 for my medicine. I actually only had to pay $10. We don't know why. I questioned it. She checked and she said it was right. I moved on. I didn't have to pay for any doctor's visits this month. My insurance was the 132.66. Let's do that. The life insurance. All right. So let's go to the next section, which is debt. Now, this is a little bit different. As you can see, this section says planned, and then the right says paid so far. So this kind of keeps account of each debt that you have. I haven't really been doing the desktop version, so on the mobile version, I don't see half of what I'm seeing now. But I know I need to update this, especially knowing that I'm going to be transitioning soon. So for the credit card, and as you can see, it tells you like your debt details, like the starting balance, the minimum payment, so on and so forth. But like I said, that the amounts are wrong. So because of that, I have to just verify that. And I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry, that's $56. And let's make that the right date and let's track that expense. I'll make sure I didn't do two. Okay, we got that. So then for the recurring, like I said, that is showing that I have $988 left of that, and we already know I do not. So I do need to go ahead and update that, especially before I start working on next month's budget. The payers plan, I don't believe that's the amount that's remaining either. So I need to do some deep diving. And I'm just going to speed this up. I'm going to delete that because it looked like I already had I paid it. And this was this credit card. I paid $36. And I didn't have any medical bills. So this is how I reconcile my accounts when using EveryDollar, which mimics what I do on pen and paper. But because I didn't do a great job of pen and paper, so happy to have EveryDollar available to me to be able to use.
How did I do with my November monthly budget financial goals? I fell short with my check-in buffer. The goal was $715, and I was only able to save $616.90 because of that stress spending. As far as debt, with my side income, I am happy to announce that I managed to make enough to be able to send $275 and pay off that debt. So in my monthly debt update and emergency fund, you will see that information. Also, I was able to locate and purchase my planners, one for content and budget. So overall, I believe November went very well. Even with my stress spending, I was able to successfully meet two of my three goals. And one of my goals I'm very close to actually meeting in the upcoming month. So being consistent pays off.
To be part of my village, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your support. Everyone hit that thumbs up to let them know I'm here and you want to see more content from me. Leave all your comments below. And please share with your family, your friends, and your coworkers. Peace out.